Today we take a close look at the Magicycle cruiser. I want to thank Magicycle for sending one of their cruisers out to the E-Ryders channel to review and test. So let's pop the hood and see what this bad boy's got. Starting with the motor, the Magicycle cruiser sports a 750 watt brushless rear hub Chang'e motor with 86 Newton meters of torque. Now to power the motor, the cruiser comes with a huge 52 volt 15 amp battery with fast charging 3.0 technology to charge your battery much quicker. Magicycle advertises a full charge max range of approximately 60 miles on pedal assist and 35 miles on throttle. This cruiser has a front suspension system with 80 millimeters of travel, not to mention lockout and preload adjustment dials. This bike has a front wheel quick release and 180 millimeter dual action mechanical disc brakes. This bike also has up to 9 levels of pedal assist, an integrated 6 volt LED headlight, a rear rack, and an integrated brake tail light. On the handlebars you have a stitched leather style wrap grips, a half twist throttle, and a 7-speed Shimano shifter. On the other side you have the same leather wrapped grip, an integrated bell on the brake lever, and next to that is a control panel to the LCD color display. All this sits on an 18-inch frame with 26x4 puncture-resistant Kenda fat tires with a reflective strip for safe night riding. The front tire has 13-gauge spokes and the rear tire has 12-gauge spokes. The bike's total weight is approximately 75 pounds with a recommended payload of 275. Now for those who are curious about clearance, the minimum seat to ground length is 34.25 inches and the maximum length with seat all the way up is 43.31 inches. With the impressive stats out of the way, we took to the streets and trails to see how the Magicycle cruiser handles both on the default speed settings and the unlocked maximum speed settings. Hitting speeds in excess of 30 miles per hour on pedal assist. If you're interested in knowing the process on how to increase the speed and other adjustments in the menu settings, continue watching through the end of this video. And if you don't want to miss any future E-Ryder video content, just hit the subscribe button to help support this channel. So what is my overall opinion of the Magicycle cruiser? Well, I found it to be very responsive and dependable when power was needed, and rightfully so with the 12 magnet cadence sensors on board. There was no lag or hesitation, so if you're looking for power on demand, this cruiser might be for you. Okay, so now for the things I like and the things I dislike, or at least would like to see done differently. First, what I dislike. And that is the battery pins. There's 3 of them, 3 prongs, and you have to line them up perfectly. So if you're someone who has a garage and it's very limited for light in the garage, it's hard to see where everything is for placement wise to plug into the battery. So this is something I guess I'd have to get used to, but it's definitely something that I would rather see different, like most bikes with plug and play. But that's not it. Also with the battery, another problem is the charge port cover. It's really difficult to get back in once you've taken it out. You have to line it up just perfect, and I've been messing with it for quite some time here and there. It's not easy. So that is definitely something that needs a little easier way to put it on. Next is the 6-volt headlight. Most competitors are about a 48-volt. This is the 6-volt headlight, so it's a little weaker than most, but I still wanted to test it out. So I was in the dark and I turned it on, and then I noticed something, that it doesn't have a lot of radiant light around, but it has more of a focused beam, and that beam is quite bright in dead center, but you don't see a lot around there like most bikes. You can see the sides of, say, a trail if you're riding down the street or on a bike trail. Then next would be something I've seen a lot on some e-bikes, and that is the bottle holder screws, where you will put the bottle bracket to hold a water bottle. That is such a inconvenient spot to put it in, especially when these e-bikes are pretty tall as it is, and to put a water bottle there right where your standover height would be, kind of intrudes on being able to stand over. And next is the controller location. I noticed the controller location is up front, right in the direct path of the front tire. So most bikes will put them in the back, but Magicycle has it up front, and so you got rocks, water, sticks that could spit right up into the controller, and but there's ways of accessories you could put around that. Next is this white chain. Doesn't look that great. I prefer maybe something a little darker, but that's me, that's my opinion. But it looks cheap. And then I was having some rattling noise, I noticed, when I was riding, and I didn't know where it was coming from. Found out it was coming from the rear fender. Apparently, as you know, the fender comes already installed, out of the box. And so I had to scoot the fender up a bit, so luckily there was a little bit of room on the bracket, but that still didn't fix it. So I had to take off the, loosen up the fender stays on the side, on each side, and then hold the fender up, and then tighten down the fender stays, and that pretty much fixed the problem. My next thing that I was confused about was the serial numbers. I looked everywhere for a serial number, which I, would believe most bikes should come with, but I couldn't find one in here. If you had your bike stolen, had to fill out a police report, or if you wanted to get insurance on your bike, they might need the serial number. Next was no derailleur guard. Most bikes come with a derailleur guard to protect your derailleur system, but this didn't have one, but you could probably buy an aftermarket one. Next was this reflector. It came with the bike on the handlebar right next to the LCD display, but everything was pushed over and off center, so it was really inconvenient to take it off. But hey, there's already a reflector on the headlight underneath it, and then there's another reflector on the spokes, which I'm not a fan of. It's too big, and plus you already have a reflective strip on the tire. Now, what I like, and what I believe stands out from its competitors, the handlebars sit up a little higher, which I really like because I don't have to buy an adjustable stem. The reason for that is it has a huge dip on the handlebars. This U, it dips down, it's a huge dip, and I love that because it just gives it more height, and I can reach over and not have any back problems while riding. And then next is the color display. Now you just hit the power button, and you can cycle through the settings. So as I mentioned earlier in the video, you can increase your speed settings. Now you can do that by pressing both plus and minus. You get to the menu, and here we're adjusting the wheel. You can select what size tire, and then the next one you get speed limit. Comes stock at 20, You can bump that up all the way up to 28 as max. As you can see, if you go over 28, it resets you down to 8. So 28 is where I put it. Then you have brightness. You can adjust the brightness of the LCD display. I kind of like 4. And the next one is voltage. Now this is a 52 volt battery, so there's no need to pick anything less than that, but you can if you wanted to. And then you can change the values of that 52 volt per. But we're not going to mess with that. And then we have the next one. We have the advanced, and here's speed sensors. Yes, your bike does have cadence sensors, and then you have power assist levels. Now it comes, stock 0 to 7, but you can go all the way up to 9. And so most people will select 0, so they have an option not to have a pedal assist and just pedal on their own power. If you pick a 1 through whatever number you'd like, then there is no option to pedal on your own power, because it's always going to start from 1. And not to mention, now you can change also the amount of power given to each pedal assist. So here we have pedal assist 1 through 5. Now you may have noticed, if you've gotten on your bike on pedal assist 1 and you notice a huge kick when it kicks in, maybe that's too much power for you. You can reduce the amount of power that each pedal assist receives percentage wise. So I brought the numbers down just a little bit, and these are the numbers that I'm comfortable with. Now you can also, have 7 pedal assists or 9, and you can make those values, divide them up even longer and shorter. Next is the current limit of amps. It's currently set at 15 stock by default. Well, it goes all the way up to 22, but we're going to leave it at about 20, because 22 is way too high and we don't want to overdo anything or burn anything out. And you have sensitivity, slow start, and then you also have how do you want to view the volts, percent, or by volts. So I prefer, percentage. And then we go back and go to the next one, the dormancy. And this is basically how much time you're going to give the bike before, it goes into sleep mode when it's inactive. And the next page is unit. Now there's only 2 choices, imperial and metric. Of course, we're here in the US, and I picked imperial. That way I have miles per hour and not kilometers. Then you can set your own password protection so nobody can access your bike. And you have factory reset. You can choose yes or no. So let's say you were messing with something, you can't remember what the default settings, and you want to start all over again. You can reset it and start all over again. And then to display is basically resetting your trip meter. So if you're going on a trip and you want to know how long the trip was or how the distance that you rode was, you can test that and then just reset it to 0 for the next ride. And then the next is just to exit. I also tested pedal assist 0 to see if the throttle would work, and it sure does. Some bikes it doesn't do that. Another thing I love is, of course, that huge 52 volt battery. And with that battery, if you've noticed, the battery forming frame. The frame, the contour lines line up with the battery. It's almost as if the frame and battery were meant to be together. There's another e-bike, which I won't mention, that it seems like the battery was just added on as an afterthought, and it doesn't line up and leaves a bunch of gaps. So I love the frame, how it goes with the battery. Next is the USB charging port. is right underneath the color display. So if you need to charge your phone or a Bluetooth, it will draw the power from the battery through your LCD display. Next is the 3.0 charging system. This, you can charge your battery within maybe 3-4 hours, which is like half the time it would take on the older bikes that have the old 2.0 charging system. Next is the walk assist. If you have to walk your bike and can't ride it, you press and hold the bottom minus button for a couple seconds and the bike will go along with you. So the last thing I like, well, it's the price. Right now at this moment, the Magicycle is only $13.99 till the end of September, and if you have a $100 off coupon code, it's only $12.99. If you need a coupon code, you can use my code E-Ryder, that's ERYDER, during checkout. At that price, in my opinion, that makes the Magicycle the best value e-bike on the market right now. It's literally the best bang for your buck. It's a fun ride, like its slogan says. It also says ride free, meaning if it's independence, adventure, or the freedom to explore that you're looking for, I think you'll find that with the power and performance of the Magicycle Cruiser. If you're interested in the Magicycle Cruiser, I posted a link to their website below, along with their Facebook page and YouTube channel. This is Nelson with the E-Ryders channel. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.